Good morning, everybody. We're all a bit bleary after our first day at Yorkshire Festival Story. Wasn't it a good day, Claire?
It was amazing. I had the best time. I hope you guys did too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So what did you particularly enjoy yesterday?
One, I loved being in the studio with everyone, guys. It's so much fun. I wish you could come and join us in the studio. And you can come and join us in the Joinery for events. Yeah. I absolutely loved Bob Swallow's talk in the morning. I think that was really special.
It was very special and really lovely for him sharing these stories about this very kind, wonderful gentleman of the railway and of another time, wasn't it? It was fantastic.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. What was your highlight?
Well, I have to say I really did, despite our tech issues, I really, really enjoyed Jack Sipes. I think Jack Sipes is one of my heroes. I remember reading his books first in the late 1980s and, his fantastic work about folk and fairy tale. And the first book I read of his actually was The Trials and Tribulations of Red Riding Hood. And it was an entry into this extraordinary world. And I think yesterday, his the discussion that we had about buried treasures was really, really exceptional and wonderful. And of course, people can still catch up on all of these.
You can, yeah.
Yep. So you just need to go to the Watch Now page, and Lynn is putting a link into the chat now. And you'll then be able to catch up on these events, because you can catch up on events for 48 hours, or most events, I should say, not the workshops. And we have got a special event this afternoon that you can't catch up on, isn't it? What's that, Claire?
So this is an event that is very, very, very close to my heart. So Journey of a Refugee is a beautiful theatre show by Theatre Rights Theatre Company. They make incredible theatre works that combine puppetry, storytelling, and just the most beautiful stories. And this is a show that I saw quite a few years ago at Manchester International Festival, and it's beautiful. I was working the show. I was supposed to be very professional, and it was so beautiful that I got teary-eyed multiple times during the show. It's incredibly beautiful, and it is not on demand, as we said. So please make sure that you tune in at the right time.
That's great, and that's on at 2, I think, this afternoon.
Yeah.
And then this evening, we've also got a treat of storytelling as well.
We do.
So what have we got this evening?
We have Dominic Kelly joining us at the Joinery for a hybrid show. So you can watch online or you can join us in person. And he is going to be doing Mara, his beautiful show. It's whodunit/love story in like a Swedish dreamscape. I think it's going to be enthralling. So yeah, I can't wait.
It certainly is. And I think there's something really special about being here in the Joinery, as we said before, and enjoying events from here as well. But if you can't make it, you can still have a great time, can't you?
Absolutely.
By watching from the privacy of your own home and enjoy the festival there. And we know so many people from around the world do that. Now, we've got a special guest on for us.
We do, yes.
So who have we got this morning?
This morning we are joined by the incredible writer, Alex Falase-Koya.
These are here, some of his books. So you may well have seen them in the bookshop, and you can find them on our bookshop online. And Lynn will put a link into the chat for them. And also here in the Joinery, our book is also selling Alex's books. Let us bring, in a moment, Alex to the stage, and he's going to tell us about the wonderful stories that he's been reading. So what's been the theme this year, the stories?
So this year, the theme is kindness. It's the theme that carries across the entire festival, guys. So if you're looking at our program and you're going, oh, it's a really interesting collection of events, it's because the thread is kindness, whether that is in schools, in workplaces, in stories, in literature, whatever it is that you're reading or involving yourself in, kindness is at the heart of our program this year. And it's at the heart of his work.
It is, and it's also something we need a lot more of, isn't it?
Absolutely,
in the world?
Yes.
So let's meet Alex.
Hello. Great to see you.
So great to see you. You're diving in all this morning.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to have read all of these amazing stories. It's been great.
Great, excellent. So tell us a little bit about what you've enjoyed reading about these stories and what perhaps might have surprised you, because we know that you thought the standard was incredibly high.
Yeah, I thought this like you said, I thought the standard of the stories was so high. That's one of the things that surprised me. It was also really interesting to see all of these different young writers give their own takes on kindness and write things that can be the stories can be as different as being a story about a shadow demon to a story about a little kitten, and these stories can all be really bound together by kindness and all be so cute and so fun to read and so great.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I think, is it time for the drum roll?
I think so.
So we're going to hear, first of all, the runners up. So drum roll, folks. And our runners up are...
Three runners up are Out of the Ashes by Nayan Desai, The Little Swallow by Sylvia Torbs, and The Puzzled Demon by Ori Sivayoka. Three amazing stories.
That's wonderful, and well done to all of you, because with the standards so high, it's really hard. But those of you who are not runners up, and even if you didn't win, remember the fact that you entered and that you've done this work is amazing. You're already a winner. Now, are you going to delight us with telling us, so who wins the third prize?
Ooh, okay. Third prize is The Life of a Refugee by Madhav Arora. An amazing story. Really touched me, and so smart and so well written. And the writer's only 8. That's something that always surprises me when I look at the ages of the people who are writing these stories. I'm always like, oh, I'm always so wowed. I wish I was as wise and as good of a writer as these people. So yeah, that's number 3.
That's wonderful. So it looks like that the next generation of writers, stories are in good hands, because we've got a wonderful generation of writers coming up. So tell us, who is in second place?
Okay, in second place, we have The Lost Treasure and the Giant Creature by Idhant Ganguly. An amazing story. Such interesting writing. There's like flashbacks in the story, which is not something I don't normally read in kids' stories, and it just was so interesting, the way they were flashing back from different points in time and writing something that felt so filled with adventure, filled with action. I loved it.
Wonderful. And tell us, who is our winner?
Okay. Our winner, our number 1 story. Again, this is so hard to pick. All of the stories that I got the chance to read was so good. So everyone who put a story forward, you're a winner in my heart. But our number 1 story is Loki by Pulan Tian. An amazing story about a little cat who and the child who is trying to rescue it. I loved it, and I loved the little twist at the end. There's a little twist at the end, which I really loved. I thought it was a great story. Amazing. Well done.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Alex. And I believe you're going to now treat us to a reading of that winning story.
Yes, let me do that. Yes, let me do that for you now. Okay, here's a reading of Loki. Meow, meow. Traffic was hurtling along the road, but I could just make out a tiny squeaking noise coming from the pile of garbage next to the bins. What the? I mumbled and bent down to investigate. Before Mum could stop me, I'd opened the flap of a tatty old cardboard box. There, cowering tightly in the corner, was a tiny, bedraggled kitten, its black fur matted, its white claws filthy. Discarded like a piece of garbage, it had been abandoned on the street. Its frightened eyes looked up at me as its entire body trembled with fear. Immediately, I turned to my mother, putting on my best, please, Mom, face, big round puppy dog eyes, adorable angelic smile. But before I could say anything, Mum heaved a sigh of resignation. Okay, but you're looking after it, she declared, shaking her head. As I carefully carried the box home, its contents paced anxiously and continued meowing weakly. Who could do this to a poor defenseless animal? I thought sadly. My little brother Toby helped make a cozy bed for the new arrival, sacrificing his favorite lion plushie for a cushion. What should we call her? He asked excitedly. Or is it him? We need a name that could be either. How about Loki? I replied thoughtfully. Loki. The name hung in the air for a second as I looked at my mother and brother. Yes, we all agreed in unison. She was starving and filthy, and over the next few days we gently coaxed Loki from the sanctuary of the box. Timidly, she took her first few steps into the kitchen, all the time shaking with fear. But the slightest noise or movement would send her straight back. Nervously, she ate the food we offered her, never relaxing and always alert to any danger, cowering whenever we tried to stroke her. Then Loki lashed out at Toby. Mum and Dad were sympathetic. They cleaned and dressed his bleeding wound and comforted him as he cried. Their patience was wearing thin. Seriously, though, we can't have a pet that hurts your brother, my mother said firmly. My parents agreed to 1 more week for things to improve. I had 7 days to turn things around, so I concentrated even harder on being kind. But things deteriorated. She barely left her box and scratched or hissed whenever anyone attempted to touch her. On the 6th day, covered in scratches, I sadly agreed Loki had to go. That night, crying into my pillow, my heart broke into 1,000 pieces. I had failed. Despite trying so hard, no amount of kindness and patience had changed her. But I was awoken by a scratching sound outside my bedroom. Sleepily, I got up to investigate. As I opened the door, I discovered Loki, proudly purring over 5 tiny, wriggling kittens, looking up at me with trust in her eyes as I crouched to pet and fondle the helpless creatures. I realized my kindness had paid off. So yeah, that's the story. It's amazing.
Oh, that's so lovely.
That's beautiful.
It's very beautiful. It's really nice. And it's so wonderful, actually, to be exploring this theme of kindness because, you know, we need more kindness in the world. And it actually softens our heart when we hear lovely stories like that. That is just so gorgeous. So prizes are winging their way to you. But while we've got you here, Alex, let's just talk to you a little bit about your work and what you're up to. So tell us a little bit about what you're up to now.
Yeah, I'm always working on my own books about kindness. We have a Marv book, Marv and the Alien Invasion came out yesterday. Marv is a book series about a little boy called Marvin who discovers a super suit in his granddad's attic, and the super suit is powered by kindness and imagination. And whenever he puts the super suit on, it gives him whatever powers he needs to save the day. And in this case, in the Alien Invasion, it's the powers to try and stop these little green aliens from causing trouble at the space center that he's visiting on that day. So yeah, that's my thing that I'm working on. My own stories about kindness.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you want to say a little bit about, you know, because it's hard being a writer and just what the life of a writer is, and some things, perhaps some words of encouragement for all the wonderful, wonderful children and young people who have entered this competition. We hope that you'll be entering next year's as well. Is you know, how they can kind of keep going, because sometimes it's hard, isn't it, getting up and trying to get those stories out.
Yeah, 100%. It's hard to keep going, especially when it can be difficult to become a writer because there's so much in terms of being a professional. Maybe at my age, there's so much competition. Even with this, there's so many people submitted. You can feel maybe if your story didn't get picked, you can feel like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe there's no point. I should just stop and quit. I'm here to tell you. If you hear that little voice in your head, you can tell that little voice in your head to be quiet. To be a professional author means that you have to go through a lot of times where maybe your story doesn't get picked. But I think that's kind of life, and I think that a good thing for me that I found, especially recently, is I've begun to really focus on the things and remember all of the positive things that come from writing, no matter if my story gets picked to be published or something like that. Thinking of, I remember I wrote something really recently, and I ended up feeling to myself, this was, it's amazing that after all these years, I can still write something that I like, that I find cool. Or it's amazing that maybe I had a little setback in writing, but I was able to write something else. Just appreciating my own strength in being able to keep going with writing. I think that writing isn't all about getting pegged or winning the competition. I think that writing is about your ability to express yourself and your ability to grow as a person. I think that it does grow you as a person. And I think that if you focus on that, if you focus on being the best writer you can be and focus on making work and having fun, then I think that you'll always be moving in the right direction.
Those are wise words and really important for all of us to consider and think about whether we're writing or not, because it could be in other areas of the arts and culture, whatever we're doing. If we really just keep with it and focus on doing the good things, then actually things do come to fruition. But do you want to say a little bit more about perhaps the people that have inspired you over the years, and how important it is for young writers to read other people's work and to be inspired by other lovely writers around?
Yeah, that's what you're saying is 100% correct. As a writer or really a creator of any kind, to make things, I think you really do have to read other things. I found it when I was growing up, for example, I was, and I know kids are still reading this writer today, Michael Mapago was a big inspiration for me. Reading his books like Suki's Kingdom, for example, really just widened my world, so to speak, as in and I think being able to read these sorts of work, not only are they useful because you begin to understand how to, if you're trying to learn how to be a writer, reading other people's work helps you, teach you how to tell a story without you having to go to a class or somebody having to directly tell you. Just by reading stories, you begin to understand how to tell stories. And not only that, but a thing I think about creativity and making things, at least the thing that I think is one of my most important tools, is that you get to take little bits of other stories or other things that you have interacted with, and you get to put it in your own story. So maybe after reading Kensuke's Kingdom, maybe I can think about what desert island story would I like to tell. If I wanted to tell a story about a desert island, what story could I tell? So yeah, other stories that you read or even things that you watch can be of great inspiration to you and can really help you make things. And that's one of the reasons why it's really important to read other people's work.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And as we're moving forward in the festival, there's lots more exciting things coming up. I hope you're going to be able to join us with some things online, Alex. And we've got just a little reminder that the festival itself has been supported by all of you with your kind support and donations. We have a donations target this year of £10,000, so we've already raised well over 1,600. So that's really, really good. So thank you very much for all your help and support. And whether you're buying books in the bookshop or attending events or making donations, all these things really count and really, really make a difference. after this event today, we're going to be sending you a little evaluation form, and your feedback and your thoughts are things that really help us and help us to make the festival even better. But before we close for today, just a final word from Claire. Anything that you're particularly excited about in terms of the coming week?
I'm spoilt for choice. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of amazing things happening this week. I'm particularly excited for Marilyn's workshop tomorrow. Marilyn Torres is delivering Artful Archetypes. She will be exploring the story archetypes through the medium of collage and art. It's an incredible way to kind of look at the story that you want to tell from a really different perspective in a really creative way, and kind of give you different ways of thinking about your work and different angles that you can come through and just see what you are trying to create in a totally different way. So I think that's going to be really fun. And if you like getting your hands sticky, then that's definitely the place to be. So I would highly recommend that you sign up.
And talking about writers, of course, we've got Nikesh Shukla running a workshop, and as well Annette Simmons.
Yes.
And Annette's workshop is called Whoever Tells Best Story Wins. And it's like, in the world, we are consumed by stories, and stories actually help us to look at things in different ways, and they're very powerful in terms of changing people's opinions about life. We've seen that already from the stories that the young people have entered. And I was thinking what you were saying, Alex, about you could take an idea and put it into your story. And I was thinking about Loki and thinking, well, what would be the story that I would want to tell about a cat? And I'm sure there's lots, but there's it just makes you stop and think about it and consider it a little bit more. So any final thoughts from you, Alex, before we finish for today?
Yeah, just again, amazing stories from the young people. Loved getting a chance to read all these amazing stories, and yeah, I'm grateful that that I got the opportunity to do this, and that these kids worked so hard on making these amazing stories. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, folks, lots more coming up. Journey of a Refugee this afternoon, Mara this evening, Marilyn Torres workshop tomorrow, and lots of other events and workshops, and events as well for schools and families across the week. Remember that for most events, you can watch things again for 48 hours. So you can always, if somebody you really want them to see something, send them the Watch Now link, and they will also be able to catch up. Thank you so much for joining us at the Yorkshire Festival of Story. Claire and I will be back at the Festival Living Room next Saturday, reflecting on most of the festival and how it's gone on. But till then, there's lots of exciting things to enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.
Goodbye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye. Thank you.